Welcome back to Probably Unlimited Games. This week, Matt finished up with the landscape materials. We tried out Nanite Displacement and found it to be lacking, and we found a tool that we can use for terrain generation. So, at the beginning of this escapade, we said that we were going to approach some of the more controversial Unreal features like Nanite with an open mind. Well, it turns out that we found the same thing that a lot of developers found. It doesn't really seem worth it. Now, this isn't Nanite, per se, this is Nanite Displacement, which was supposed to give the ground extra depth by displacing the ground mesh based on height data. But when Matt implemented it, we found that we got a significant FPS drop, and it requires a lot more complexity on the back end, and displacement doesn't change collision, so your character model will pass right through things on occasion. It does add a bit of depth to the landscape, but overall it doesn't seem like the trade-offs are worth the cost of implementation. We'll see if the other Nanite is any more worthwhile when we come to use it. The assets I've been using to build the houses have it enabled by default, and we haven't had any performance issues so far. We haven't really had to interact with the system directly just yet, though, so the jury's out. There was an issue with Runtime Virtual Textures, since Matthew got on my case about not saying the whole acronym last week, that was using the wrong tiling size and making everything enlarged and blurry, that is now fixed. There was some additional behind-the-scenes work that got us to blend layers more effectively, creating more visual variety. So at the tail end of our landscape development, we found a free tool that would have made the process so much easier. It's called Gaia. Apparently, it's kind of the gold standard for development, used by everyone from Ubisoft to Larian Studios. And it's even free. Well, not quite free. It's free for non-commercial products, which means that once we start selling the game, we'll have to fork over a bit of money. Thankfully, it's only $100 for a lifetime license, which is extremely reasonable in a day and age where most subscription services want that much or more per month, which makes things very difficult for bootstrappers like us. We're going back and forth on it, and we haven't made a decision just yet. So, we've been planning on having different biomes for the forest. Not super realistic, but environmental variety is one of those things that keeps gameplay fresh, as well as informing the player where they are and what they can expect from a given area. In our case, different types of game, different hazards, etc. So, deer and hedgehogs in the forest proper, boars and ducks in more swampy areas, and if you're feeling really brave, bears and wolves in the deep woods. With our current setup, which might be good enough for now, we've got a bit of a problem. If you're switching between two different material instances, you get a hard line where one stops and the other starts, which is really jarring and immersion breaking. However, Matt's found a tool that seems to have the ability to blend multiple instances more smoothly. So if you're going from the forest into the deep forest, or into a more swampy area, it will allow for a more gradual transition between those areas. That being said, Matt's kind of done with terrain generation for now, and we may just leave the system be for now and use what we've built, and then return to it at a later date. So, seems like Matt's finished up with landscape materials for now, and we're probably going to be moving back to more gameplay system in the coming weeks. I finished up the tavern, added things like windows, and supports, and a foundation, and a little bit of detailing. It's big, it's dumb, it's ugly, and I had to make some weird concessions in the design, but it's functional, and I guess that's all we need right now. Steve, and not Steve, oversaw it all. They exist now in a landscape that is propagated with digital grass and digital dirt. They have heard our machinations about the deep forest. They wonder, they suspect, but they do not know. They will stew in their suspicions. It will lie in their hollow cores, churning, chewing, sinking its black tendrils into their digital souls until the weight of it makes them want to cry out. But they cannot cry out. They cannot move under their own power. They know, deep in their digital hearts, that they will never see the deep forest, or what goes on there, for they have no muscles, no eyes, no mouths, and they cannot scream. Anyway, that's all for now. Like and subscribe. It really does help.